gonna tell you why Rodney Anderson could become Oklahoma's 7th Heisman Trophy winner in 2018, and all it's coming up after the bump.
What do you mean you don't subscribe to my son's YouTube channel?
Mama, no!
Just snap the damn ball, RJ.
What's up, kid folk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. If this is your first time here, consider hitting the like and subscribe button because I upload a video every single day. It's always OU related, college football related, sports related. We have a good time. Before we get into Rodney Anderson, let's talk about some news and notes you need to know, starting with the scuttlebutt about Ohio State grad transfer Joey Burrow. Joey Burrow is a former Buckeyes quarterback and 4-star recruit who went to Ohio State, probably ain't gonna win the job, decided to transfer. Sports Illustrated writer Bruce Feldman has already reported Joey Burrow is looking at LSU and Cincinnati, but then former Alabama quarterback Greg McElroy opened his mouth. And he said, depending on what happens with Kyler Murray and whether or not he chooses to play baseball or football in the fall, Burrow should probably take a look at Oklahoma. McElroy's quote was, "There's a school that nobody's talking about that I would consider, and I have at the top of my list pending something that is going to go on here in a couple of weeks. I would monitor the situation at Oklahoma very closely. If I was a grad transfer and I'm kind of not sure, I don't have to go anywhere. I don't have to make my intentions known immediately. I would watch what happens with Kyler Murray very closely. Oklahoma has a tremendous amount of success with quarterbacks that have transferred before. They, of course, are a program that's ready to win today. They're relatively young on defense. That's a group that's going to get better. You're going to be surrounded by a remarkable supporting cast, and you have a great quarterback coach in Lincoln Riley as your head coach." Now let's say for the sake of argument that Joey Burrow does decide to Oklahoma. He still has to beat out Austin Kendall for the job, and I don't think that's an easy thing to do. I don't think it's as simple as coming in as a grad transfer and winning that locker room as the guy. However, there aren't a whole lot of teams that would give Burrow an opportunity to compete for a national championship right away. But here's another thought. Why not just let Joey Burrow go to Texas? They really don't know who their quarterback is, and he's already a better quarterback than Ellinger or Buechele. So why is McElroy letting Oklahoma come out of his mouth in the first place? I say do a little bit more research before you start letting OU come out of your mouth as a possible landing spot for a quarterback transfer. The next bit of news you need to know is what Rivals had to say about Chris Steele and why he should probably really consider coming to Oklahoma. First of all, Steele has gone on record as saying he appreciates the honesty and forthrightness of secondary coach Kerry Cooks, and he's really close with Brendan Radley Hiles. Also, if, when, how Bookie gets on the field early, that's going to make Chris Steele feel better about coming to Oklahoma because he knows if he can play, he'll play right away. Now, a lot of folks consider Oregon to be a silent favorite. USC seems to be up there because he's from California. But come July 7th, a lot of people would not be surprised to find out that Chris Steele pulls Oklahoma out of the hat. This is the #3 player in the state of California, and he plays corner, so we want him. Shout out to the OU Sooners softball team who notched yet another Big 12 title. Oklahoma is 50-3 and a favorite to win the Women's College World Series again this year. Patty Gasso is a national treasure. All right, so people know that Baker Mayfield became Oklahoma's 6th Heisman Trophy winner in 2017 and eventually led the Sooners to the college football playoff against Georgia. What a lot of people seem to neglect in that loss to Georgia is that Rodney Anderson busted Kirby Smart's defense for over 200 yards rushing, and that wasn't an anomaly. But let's back up. The story with Rodney Anderson is kind of awesome because this is a guy who bounced back from 2 freak injuries over the last 2 seasons and seemed to be the 3rd man on the depth chart behind Abdul Adams and even a Marcelius Sutton. I mean, he really wasn't even in the rotation during like the first month of the season. In Oklahoma's first 4 games, Rodney Anderson had just... But then he broke out, particularly in the Kansas State game where he won it for us on a playmaker's play. He finished the final 8 games of the season with... To put that in perspective, Texas running backs Kyle Porter, Daniel Young, and Chris Warren III combined for 1,373 yards from scrimmage over the course of the entire season. Rodney's numbers break down as such. He had 1,161 yards rushing, averaging 6.2 yards per carry, and caught 17 passes for 281 yards. Yes, those are monster numbers, but I think he's helped this year to have a real opportunity to keep up that torrid pace because Lincoln's going to be breaking in a new quarterback, whether it's Kyler Murray or Austin Kendall, and the offense still runs the ball way more than it passes. So he's going to get plays, and he's going to get carries, and he's going to get catches. But the Heisman Trophy is notorious for going to a quarterback. As a matter of fact, since 2000, only 3 running backs have won the Heisman Trophy. Those are Reggie Bush, Mark Ingram, and Derrick Henry. But I think if Rodney Anderson could get close to 1,700 yards and notch more than 20 total touchdowns, he could win the Heisman Trophy. I think with more than 1,500 yards and 20 total touchdowns, he's going to get an invite to the ceremony in December. Alright, that's it for me. Deuces.